Oh, did you want me to put on some doctor stuff?
I'm sorry?
Did you want me to put on some scrub top?
No. I'm gonna make one quick adjustment here.
Hey, what kind of webcam?
I'm gonna do one quick adjustment because what Facebook did, they have you go on at 8 o'clock, and for whatever reason, I had to delete it and add it back, so we're not losing any audience right now. So just hang with me for just a moment.
All right, you're on Facebook?
I'm going back to Facebook. We're currently on YouTube, so give me just one moment. We'll be ready and good evening, everybody. This is Cruz, the Beast from the East, and you are listening to and viewing Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8, our live stream tonight. We're honored to have back with us Dr. Geoffrey Mount Varner. If you have not seen him, you are in for a treat. I promise you, this man is extremely knowledgeable, and just to have him with us this evening, again, we're just elated. Who is Dr. Varner? Well, let me tell you, Geoffrey Mount Varner, he's an MD, MPH, FACEP, has 20 years experience in emergency medicine, and is a leading authority on saving lives. Dr. Mount Varner, a board-certified emergency medicine physician, shares the results of hundreds of hours of research, interviews. He has accolades. He's been given awards. He's been involved in Ebola. He's been involved in Katrina. And Doc, first thing I want to ask you is all those initials behind your name. Let's start with, I know what the MD is there. So let's start with the with that P, I mean that MPH. What is that?
That's a master's in public health.
Master's in
And
public health.
and
Okay.
the FACEP is I'm a fellow in that in the Academic College of Emergency Medicine, which means I've achieved their highest level of achievement amongst my colleagues.
Wow, and what is, now we had a conversation. I think it was Saturday, and all of the reviews, man, it said this brother is heavy, and that's what I kept hearing resonate, throughout the comments and the feedback that we were getting. So we're glad to have you, my heavy brother.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now you have been doing something on your own and informing people, and one of the main, I guess, sticking points has been split-second decisions. Uh, Talk about split-second decisions. What does that? What is the makeup of that?
I do appreciate that. First of all, thank you very much for having me on your show, and thank you for what you do for the community as well. But thank you for having me back on your show for the second time because you want to inform the community about what's going on. Because as you know, we are in a crisis, and you are doing your part. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir. Again, like you, I want to get the word out. And as Tom Joyner, before he retired, he said that, he was all about super serving the community. And that's what I want to do. And I resonated with and kind of gravitated to you because that's, in my mind, that's what you're doing. You're super serving our community. You're super serving anybody that would listen. You're super serving a nation and worldwide as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So split second decisions prior to this breakout, while I'm a board certified emergency medicine doctor, and I practiced part time. But the other branch of me, the other arm of me, was I taught executives how to make split second decisions. A split second decision is simple. It is when you are making a decision when there's a limited amount of time, T, there's a lack of information, the L, and there, C, critical consequences. We call that the TLC framework. And the reason why that is so important is that we all make about 35,000 decisions every day, from very mundane ones, what to wear, what to like drink, what color shoes to put on. But about 70 of those decisions, 70 of them are life-changing and life-altering. And most of those are split-second decisions. So if you learn to manage those 70 decisions very well, then you improve your life. You improve your job. You improve your occupation. You improve your relationship with your family. So that whole split second framework was something that I developed over the past 20 years.
That's amazing. And, there are a lot of things going on right now. And what you have been teaching resonates. It helped to confirm, even when I've been talking to my family about being the executive, having to make executive decisions and their decisions based on saving not only our lives, but trying to save the lives of others. Let's talk about some of these things here. That have been, again, I know people probably have heard them ad nauseum, but I don't think that we can say it enough because we're not even at the apex of what's
No.
going on. So can you go through and talk about that? People, when they get this virus between 1 to 14 days before developing the symptoms, let's talk about the most common symptoms of COVID.
So if you don't mind, let me just paint a very broad stroke first. The COVID virus, it is a virus that's in the same class as the common cold, but it's a different strain, something that we've never seen. The most common symptoms based upon China are cough, fever, shortness of breath, sore throat, and body aches. Those are the most common symptoms. And if you get those symptoms, chances are you have COVID, and you should and you should not go to the ER. You should stay home, treat your treat your symptoms with over-the-counter cold medicines, Tylenol, motion, but call your primary care doctor. Now, the reason why I say that is I am currently on the front lines. I took care of several COVID patients the other night, and they all went home. We did not test any of them. We diagnosed them symptomatically. The reason why I highlight that is because when you come to the ER and you don't need to be there, you're putting yourself at risk of being exposed to someone else who may have symptoms. Now, the next question you should ask me from the ER point of view is that okay, if I have COVID, how do I know when to go to the hospital? Great question. The most common reasons, and now mind you, it's not limited, but the most common reasons are if you have increasing shortness of breath. Let's define shortness of breath. Shortness of breath is as you're walking, you feel winded. You feel winded. Worsening shortness of breath is the more you walk, the more winded you feel, or at rest, you simply feel winded. That's worsening shortness of breath. Or if you have persistent chest pain, confusion, and then finally, if you just have bluish lips, those are the most common reasons to go to the ER. Now, let's go back to what you started off saying. People are most infectious about 2 to 3 days prior to having any symptoms. You're most infectious about 2 to 3 days prior to having any symptoms at all. And by the way, there are some studies, and they're all over the place, but by and large, in this country, they would say between 30 to 50% of us are asymptomatic. Asymptomatic, it's real simple. It is you have active infectious disease, but you don't have any symptoms. Asymptomatic is you are actively infectious, but you don't have any symptoms. Meaning that right now, I could be an asymptomatic carrier. I'm talking, I don't have any symptoms, but I can be an infectious person. So that's what an asymptomatic carrier is. And all this becomes important. Why? Because if you don't know who has it, social distancing becomes even more important.
And it's we were talking about that a little bit before the show. What I took a picture today, and it really kind of infuriated me, but let me know what you just talked about. A lot of us can be asymptomatic. I saw a group of valet drivers that were out in front of of a hospital. I won't call the hospital out right now, but they were, one, they didn't have on any masks. Two, they were less than 6 feet. And the third thing is that they're getting into people's cars and bringing those cars to them. I saw that as being problematic simply because I guess they're thinking that because they don't have any of the symptoms and they're not coughing, or they don't have a tiredness, a fever, cough, other things that we just talked about, that they're good. Is that a myth? I mean, that, I know you just talked about it a bit more, but can we hammer that home that you don't have to necessarily have this any of these symptoms to be a carrier?
That is not a myth. And that actually brings us to our next point, because there's some young people out there, because a lot of young people are like asymptomatic carriers. They're thinking, hey, I'm good. I may have the symptoms, but I'm going to do just fine. The data does support you're very likely going to do just fine. But you put the greatest risk population at risk, the most at risk population. Those are the elderly, those who are immunocompromised. Immunocompromised means active cancer, HIV, chronic renal disease, uncontrolled diabetes. You're putting them at risk. Also in that group are people with lung problems, including asthma. So while you may not have any symptoms, and while you may do just fine, you can go and infect someone else whose their immune system is not as strong as yours, and they can end up having dire consequences. We are all in this together.
I heard the Surgeon General talking this morning, and he was mentioning that he is in that that high risk. One, because he's borderline high blood pressure, hypertension, and I'm borderline high blood pressure. Am I in that same category as it been asthmatic, diabetes, heart disease? Because a lot of people saying, I don't have diabetes, I don't have high risk, but I do have blood pressure. I'm taking blood pressure medicine. So am I at risk?
Well, let's just look at the Wuhan, China data, the academic data. What it basically showed was that 14% of those who went on and did not fare well had uncontrolled hypertension. So if I just look at that intuitively, you're probably not you are probably not in the high risk category with borderline hypertension. But here's the kicker: you don't want to find out. You don't want to find out. The true people who are in that risk, who are in that high risk category, again, are the elderly, people who are immunocompromised, people with active lung disease, and the immunocompromised are uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled high blood pressure, chronic renal disease, and a host of other ailments as well.
Again, we just, and here's the thing that really kind of resonates with me is that I keep up with a lot of social media. I'm looking at, again, all the comments, and it's like Dr. Varner, people are saying, I am so sick and tired of hearing about this COVID. Is that a dangerous mindset?
That's a dangerous mindset, and that mindset will get you killed. Let me just tell you why. We have never seen anything like this before. Never. Now, and it didn't have to be this way, but just follow me for a second. Just like follow me for a second. Back in January, had we done what we were supposed to in this country, we would already be on the downslope of this. But the models in January said, America, you all could be at about 2.2 million people. Then you go to around February, and the model's like, yeah, if you all don't control this, you're definitely going to be at 2.2 million people dying. And then all of a sudden, and then February, we're still talking about this is the flu. Then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, hey, everybody, if only 100,000 people die, then we've done a good job. No, it didn't have to be. I'm not making a political statement. I bring home the point. It didn't have to be looking forward, meaning that we don't have to reach 2.2 million. We don't have to reach that. We're already going to hit 100,000, maybe 200,000 if we do everything perfectly now. But we don't have to reach 2.2 million if everyone does what they're supposed to do. This is no joke. 2.2 million people who this time last year were living healthy lives, and they were they were thinking that they're going to live a lot longer. The issue is we don't know who those 2.2 million people are going to be. And one other point, what's different in this country than it is in China, while the median age in China was 47, the data isn't out yet, but we have younger people dying in this country, which is different.
Wow. And, man, that really resonates. Now, on the screen right now, if you can see it here, of course, we keep, this is a hashtag everywhere, stay at home, save lives, help stop COVID-19. People say, well, how are we going to help slow it down and stop it? Let's talk about the word mitigation, because you hear Dr. Fowles talks about we can mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Expound on that for us, Dr. Varner.
Meaning that basically he means that we can impact it, we can slow it down. And the best way of slowing it down is staying at home. Stay at home, only go out for essentials. B, social distancing is absolutely key. 6 feet apart keeps you and your family from becoming 6 feet under. Now, what I said 5 days ago, because you follow me well, I said 5 days ago, Wearing your mask is essential. It's key. Look at the data in China. Watch the pictures in China. Those citizens wear masks. Now you find out the CDC, the federal government are now saying, well, maybe let's consider making citizens wear masks. Wearing masks is essential for two reasons. It protects you from any type of respiratory viruses out there, and it protects other people from you in case you have an active virus in you. And ideally, you would want to wear an N95 mask. But let me just say for like different levels. There's the surgical mask, then there's an N95, which is what you're holding up. Great job. And then there's an N99 mask. What they're saying now is any mask at all is going to be helpful. Any mask. And if for no other reason, even if you don't have any active disease, it keeps you from touching your face. The two most common ways of getting this thing is coughing, someone coughing on you, or you going someplace, touching something where someone's just coughed and touching your face. If you have on a mask, you can't touch your face. A mask is absolutely essential. And I tell you now, as a Harvard graduate, as a board-certified in medicine, a board-certified emergency medicine doctor who's actively practicing on the front lines, my family, they are required to wear a mask when outside the house. I don't mean when they're walking around, jogging. When they go into public places, they are required to wear a mask. It's the safe and right thing to do.
We've heard, and you've expounded on this, that again, if you don't have a mask, something is better than nothing. What are some maybe some home things that people say? Because you can't find masks, you can't find the N95s, the N99s. What are some other things that you would suggest that would be helpful if you can't find those certified masks?
I don't know. I do. I haven't even looked it up. I do other research in different areas.
Right.
So I'm not even sure. They can like Google it and find out. But I was out at the store today and saw people with bandanas on. But anything covering your mouth is better than nothing.
And that was and you brought that point out right there, because I've seen a lot of people getting bandanas now. They were talking about it on the Today Show, grabbing bandanas and things like that if you can't get the mask in. I appreciate your honesty. That's what I love having you on there, because you go shoot it to the people straight. You're not going to give it that fluff that a lot of times we're hearing.
Right.
All right, so we got stay at home as much as you can, keep a safe distance, wash your hands as often, cover your mouth, and if you're sick, stay away from everybody. Now, the washing of it was something yesterday that you mentioned, and again, it stuck with me, and I want this to be your home, keeping it warm. What does that do in terms of the virus?
So thank you for that question. Let me paint a bigger picture. I would recommend everyone disinfect their house, clean it, scrub down everything, the knobs, make your house an a very sterile place. That is your safe spot. Then moving forward, keep your house warm. Why? The virus thrives in cold weather, in cooler temperatures. The virus thrives. But once you wipe down your house, it is your job as the executive of your house to make sure that virus does not enter your house. For instance, I know when I come home from my work, in the garage, I take off everything but my underwear, and everything stays in the garage. Everything. My wife makes me do it. Well, she don't make me do it. We've agreed that I would do that. But not only that, when you come in from the store, the virus is on. It can get on you like shoes too. Those shoes stay outside the house. The inside is your sanctuary. So if you don't have virus in your house now, don't let it in. You've got to be on patrol. We are in battle here, so you've got to protect your house. So wiping down the knobs, doing all that, and then be careful about who you let in your house as well. I'm sorry, did I answer your like question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good.
Okay,
Keep
all right,
going.
all right.
It's just like a preacher that's breaking the word. You don't stop preaching. You say amen.
I wasn't trying to preach. I just got off just like on that little tangent. And since you let me keep going, so let's go back to split second decisions and let's give an example. I bet you live in a nice neighborhood where you like know your neighbors, right?
That's correct.
All right. So I know my neighbors too. They've helped me out. They pick up my mail when I am traveling. They look out for my kids, and we're all home and everyone's getting restless. But I ask your audience, okay, you like know your neighbors well. You've disinfected your house. Your doorbell rings. You go answer it. The neighbor's there, and your neighbor's wanting to come inside and visit. Now think about it. Go through it in your mind. It's kind of awkward. They're at your door, ready to come and visit. So there's already a time constraint because you got to decide something. You got to decide something. You don't know whether or not they are COVID positive. And by the way, assume that everybody's COVID positive. And then the critical consequence is if you let them in your house, you should consider yourself letting the virus in your house because you consider everybody to be COVID positive. So what do? The split second decision is you don't let them in. It's real simple. It's that serious because you have to assume that neighbor's COVID positive, and if you let them in, you're letting the virus in. The whole goal is to keep your sanctuary clean and aseptic and no virus in it.
Man, that is deep right there because again, this is somebody that you had they came out one day in the cold and they helped you start your car or they had to push you through the snow and they've been bringing over fruit cakes or they brought you some chicken noodle soup and now you got to make that decision to say
yes,
that's deep.
It's real
deep. And you said you have to assume that everybody has the virus. Is that perhaps the reason people are fearful because they're looking at, oh, I know I went into Target the other night and I had my mask on, because I want to be safe, first of all. And so I saw a dude coming and he told his wife, he said, come around here. So I guess he had that in mind. Well, I don't know if he's trying to protect himself or he has the virus. So I'm going to tell my wife to come around here. That was a split second decision he made because it was instant. So is that kind of like the mindset that you're saying that we got to have if we see something similar to that?
Yeah, yes. I would even take it a step further because a lot of people are not wearing masks because they don't want to be embarrassed or they're concerned what other people are going to think about and whether or not they think they got the virus. Let me drop this nugget. What people think about you is none of your business. It's none of your business what somebody else thinks about you. This is about saving your life. And let me just tell you, again, I told you, I'm on the front lines. I'm practicing. I am seeing patients. We practice now where everyone's COVID positive. Everybody's COVID positive until proven otherwise. We are required, and I've been practicing for 25 years. When you are in the hospital, you have to have at least a surgical mask wherever you go. If I have to go to the restroom, boom. If I got to go to the call room, boom. If I got to go to the kitchen, a mask. Now, if we think someone's COVID, then I put on my N95, gown up, so forth and so on. What is my point? The point is if in the hospital, they've raised the bar that way, I would say that in the general public, you should raise the bar that way too.
Here is again, and you touched on a lot of the questions that we have up here about being asymptomatic, wearing the mask, making your home and your car a safe zone. Now, here's the one, number 4. How do we deal with brain overload regarding COVID-19? It's like, man, I'm about to tear my hair out if I had any hair. I'm so freaking tired of this. I want to scream every time I hear somebody mention COVID. How do we deal with that, doctor?
That is a great question. There are two issues going on here. Often people who keep listening to the COVID stuff, it's making them fearful. It's making them anxious. And if listening to them is driving them crazy, that means that they're stressed. It is stressing them. Now, I need your audience to like listen up, because I'm gonna get technical for a second. So just please follow me. We have a naturally occurring hormone in our body called cortisol. Cortisol is also known as a stress hormone. When we're stressed, especially chronically stressed, or our cortisol levels raise. Elevated levels of cortisol cause decrease in our immunity, transient decreases, temporary decreases in our immune system, and thus making us more susceptible to the COVID virus. Therefore, controlling your stress is absolutely key. And what I encourage many of my listeners to in my other stations, is if it stresses you, if it is too much, then don't listen. Choose a reliable source, one that you trust. If I had to watch someone on TV, it would be Fauci. I trust him. It would be Fauci. That's who I trust. But then if you feel like you need to watch it just to keep updated, watch in the evening. Enjoy your day. Don't get anxious. And then in the evening, watch your like show. I found that MSNBC. I found they while I don't agree with some things that they say, because I read a lot of the journals, I find that they're usually in the ballpark. They're usually in the ballpark. But whoever you like, choose a reliable source and stick with it, because it gets confusing. The media is all over the place. And let me just say this one last part. And I'm sorry for talking so much. If many people have underlying stress, and I get it. If you're feeling a little stressed now, it's not unusual. So don't be hard on yourself at all, especially when you're hearing this all day and all night. It gets stressful. And in fact, many of my colleagues who are in the war zone, we're on group email exchange lists, and we all talk about how every so often, like, was that a cough? Was that a sore throat? So we feel it in our own ways too. So don't be too hard on yourself. This is a stressful time, something that this country has never experienced. But in the end, it's going to be okay. You're like, well, how did I know? Lord Jesus Christ has always told me that I was going to be okay. And guess what? He's proved it to you. Let me tell you how. I don't know you personally, but many of you all have been through your own little difficulties. You've had your own trauma, your own tragedy. I know it. But the fact you are here listening to it means that you made it through it. That's evidence that God's always going to pull you through. And then not only that, for those of you all who you're saying, but I am an atheist, the data shows that 98% of us are going to be just fine. Those are great odds. 98% of us are going to be just odds. I don't know about you, but in Vegas, 2-to-1 odds are great. Here, 98% of us are going to be just fine.
Also, you talked about staying hydrated. How is that relevant, and how does that help with COVID-19?
Mr. Sherman, you do your homework. You know the plan. I'm proud of you. Okay, audience. I'm gonna get technical for it. No, I'm not. I'm gonna make it very basic.
Doc, before you answer that, let me ask if you have any questions, because we want to make sure that we had a set that you had sent in, but for the audience, if you have any questions, I want to let you know now to go ahead and put them in the comments, and we're going to take time. And while Doctor is still kind of revived because he works a lot of shifts here, put your questions in the comments, and we'll. If we don't get to him now, I'll forward them to him because he does an excellent show. What is it, every other day now?
Yes, it's every other day. They can follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. On Instagram, they can go to Dr. Saving Lives, and on Facebook, it's Geoffrey Mount Varner. Geoffrey Mount Varner. Or if they really want to connect to me, they can go to splitseconddecisions.com. Again, splitseconddecisions.com.
All right. Anybody you have any questions, go ahead and put them out there now and let us know because I know you think you know it all, but there's some new developments in this every day, and that's what I'm finding out by following Dr. Varner is that every day I learn something new or I'm seeing something new, and you got to be studious in this if you're going to protect yourself and protect your family. You got to know how to filter out all of the nonsense stuff because I get a lot of nonsense stuff in my inbox, people trying to warn me about this, warn me about that, and I'll let the good doctor talk about that. But yeah, staying hydrated.
Now, before, if you don't mind, Mr. Sherman, would you please say what you just said again? Because that is so key. Just to say what you just said, those last 5 sentences. Say that again.
Again, you have to basically protect your mind from all of the stuff that you're going to see. You're going to get inundated with stuff in terms of people sending. We were supposed to talk about. We're going to get a chance to talk about that. I don't know if you need 2 antibiotics, and I've seen one young lady that had on. My wife sent me this today. She had on her scrubs, and she was saying that what we had been taught was BS, and I'm gonna call it like it is, like Ron said. She said everything that the health community is telling us, the World Health Organization, the task force, and all that is bullshit. Well, if you start to follow a lot of this stuff and you don't know how to filter out what's real and what isn't, you'll be going crazy, and then you'll be doing a lot of stuff that can be detrimental to your health. If you says, because she's saying, well, if you just if it's if it don't matter, it can't live in the cold. Well, okay, that's not what I've studied and stuff like that. And she just said, if that was the case, the AIDS virus and all that would still be prevalent. That the virus will die. Well, lady, I just looked at where 200, probably 1,000 people will die if they don't have the right information, don't do the social distancing, don't wash their hands. So you know what? I'm gonna roll with the experts right now. I'm gonna go with the odds in Vegas.
See, you don't even need me on the show. Great job, sir. Very good job. Let me just share with the audience how I even got here. Because as I said, I am an ER doctor. But where my fame in this came from was I simply read the articles as the media was doing their thing. I said, hey, well, let's see what the academic articles were like even saying, and what was being reported in the media, and what the true literature from China was like telling us was awfully different. And then combine that with the fact where you mentioned a lot of great things that I've done, but the most marvelous thing that I am most proud of is that I'm a father. I'm a father of two. I'm an uncle of seven. My mom lives about a mile. There's 16 of us within a 3-mile radius. And I got more involved in this because my mom, who is retired, has her PhD in education. She was asking me questions. And what I realized was because she was getting a lot from the media. So I jumped in. So I said, I'm going to start to sort this out. And what I realized was, wait a minute, I see why people are confused. So I jumped in, dove in, and started to follow it, research it. And as you've heard me say, everybody, I don't quote social media. I don't quote MSN. You will hear me say the CDC. I read their articles. WHO, academic articles, and only recently have I added anecdotal evidence from the physician list service. Why? Because as a community, what we finally said, wait a minute, there's not a whole lot of articles out there because this is new. It takes a couple months to turn around an article. So anecdotal evidence from my colleagues has become okay. Now, hydration. Let me tell you why hydration is so important. Let me preface it with this, people. There is no cure. There is no cure. Therefore, we've got to do the best we can to maximize everything that we have at our disposal. Control the controllables. Hydration. Naturally, our respiratory system makes mucus. That mucus helps our lungs and our respiratory tract move well. It serves as a filter for large particles that we breathe in, and that's a nice thin layer. And we have ciliary bodies, little hairs that help move that mucus along. When we're dehydrated, that mucus becomes thick. It's harder to move along. It disrupts the whole filtering process. So staying hydrated is a great preventive measure, and it's extremely important even if you are COVID positive. So hydration is absolutely key. Some listeners want to know, well, what do I hydrate with? That's outside of the scope of this. Hydration is key.
You know, I'm gonna, Doc, we're gonna have a little fun here before we go, because we're not in a big hurry. But I got a text and somebody told me I was rambling. So let me just put that one point out here. Do your damn research, people. Okay. Now, how about that with the last sentence? That was
somebody told you that you were rambling.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it out. That was my sister. You know, she sent me a text, said he asked you for the last 6 sentences and you rambling. So I'm gonna tell my sister, here's the last thing I want you to know and understand. Do your damn research. How about that for not rambling?
But sisters, I got two sisters, an older sister and a younger sister. That's how sisters do it. That's how they roll. Go ahead, sister.
See, that's the preacher in me part. You know, we get on a tangent sometimes, but you know, again, what I wanted to do is that, and we just brought a little bit of levity in a serious situation. I think one of the other things I found out, and please expound on this when we talk about the overload of the mind, we have to find some way to decompress. What are some of the things that you do yourself to decompress? Because you're on the front line.
Wow, decompression, which also decreases stress. I'm a 3:30. I'm a wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning type of like dude. I spend an hour reading the Bible, meditating, stretching, and then I run. I go on I do a series. It's 9 miles on the first day, 8 miles on the second day, 7 miles on the third day, and then I rest. That helps free my mind. And I would encourage everyone, pick up some form of exercise, whatever it is. We're off. Even if you're just walking around your building, walking around your house, walking around your neighborhood. If you run across somebody, stay 6 feet. I was running this morning and the lady was awfully close. I'm not gonna lie. I put my hand there, I held my breath as long as I could, and then I coughed out as soon as I went past her. I'm like, nothing's getting in here. I mean, I'm just real talk. That's what I did. And let me tell you why exercise is so important. There are numerous studies that exercise helps. It helps strengthen your immune system. It helps strengthen your immune system. So exercise is absolutely key, and I believe in meditation too.
Now, you mentioned something again, and I was reading this today about coughing. They said that coughing can be a therapeutic way to help COVID. Help me with that one, doctor.
I wish I could. I don't have any insight about that. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna. I tell you, when you do your show, I'm gonna have that all typed out and everything, and I'm gonna send that one because that was interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Put it in the comments, please do. Put it in the comments, please do.
Now, again, talked about split-second decisions. Here's again where we get a little bit serious again. We're looking at, and this is just the latest numbers, between 100,000 to 213,000 people will die. I can't even fathom that. And that's something that we're saying, that think we're seeing something that's terrible now, that we have not even got to the apex of that. How do we cope with just understanding, Dr. Varner, that somewhere about 100,000 people could die before this is all over with?
I'd say one way by coping is your mindset. Pray is not going to be you. Pray is not going to be your family, and pray for those who it does impact. But in the meantime, do your prevention. Maximize everything you got. Tomorrow, I put out a COVID-19 prevention toolkit. And now, mind you, no one else has like done it. But the beauty is, I put the articles down with it. Vitamin D, and great paper on it. And when you pull it up, you will actually see wonderful paper. What vitamin D does, it helps boost your respiratory immune system as it relates to bacterial and viral infections. And if you get those infections, it makes it less severe. So vitamin D. So again, everybody, the best to a good defense, the best to go up a defense is a good offense. We got to get more proactive. Hydration, as we already talked about. Wearing your mask. Again, wearing your mask and washing those hands. Exercise and decreasing your stress because you want to keep those cortisol levels down. The worst thing you can do is get down and depressed. And don't get me wrong. If I wanted to get down, my 13-year-old son, he's in a high-risk category, asthma. My mom, she's in a high-risk category. So we got to approach this from all different ways. That's why those 5 things, that puts you further along than everybody else. And guess what? Nobody will be able to say that don't work. Why? Because they don't know, and there is no cure. And I've got the data that says, hey, this will at least help.
Doc, I want you to keep talking. I want you to take my audience right now and speak to them for the next minute. They're all yours.
Oh, not a problem. So everybody, we are experiencing in this country a difficult period of time for everybody. And I mean everybody. It doesn't matter what shape, color, religion. This is a virus that could take out millions of us. And it's a scary period of time, especially combine that with the fact that many of us are being furloughed. Many of us are losing jobs. We're losing incomes. We're losing businesses. So I'm not minimizing anything. If I had to say that there's a light at the end of this tunnel, there's been little things that have happened. I live in Maryland. This is our 3rd week where we're home. That first week, I'll be honest with you, it was hard being home with everybody, because if you think about it, you're usually home with the whole family and everybody being off during Christmas. And let's think about how we feel at Christmas. By January 3rd, you ready for everybody to go back. Now we're home for an extended period of time. And what I found is that being home, I'm actually to mesh and gel with my family more. We're actually able to get to know each other more, especially since other people are not in. I know that sounds fluffy, but right now it's okay to go for fluffy things. It's okay to think about the positive. Let me just make you laugh. Let me just make you just laugh. There's one piece of data that comes out of China, that the number of divorces post-COVID has skyrocketed. Why? Because all those couples were stuck in the house and they had a chance to get to know each other. And some of them said, hey, I want to do something different. I don't want that to be anybody's end, but you got to laugh at something, because this is a scary, serious event.
Absolutely. Well, I really, because you have been putting in yeoman's work, being on the front line and then keeping everybody appraised of what's going on. And as I told the audience, that you bring it real and you bring it raw. You don't put that fluff to it. You don't guess. You don't tell us what we want to hear. You tell us what we need to hear. And I want to say to you, I certainly appreciate that. I am so glad that we've had this opportunity to collaborate. And I want you to know that this is always a forum for you to continue to reach, outside of the enormous circle that you have, whatever we can do. And also I want to mention to the audience is that this was streaming also on YouTube tonight for the first time. We got Facebook and YouTube. You can go to our Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 TV channel on YouTube. If you missed it, you can go see it in its entirety because it will be out there on Facebook and also on YouTube. You got to go see the good doctors.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you very much for all that you're doing for the community. And before we go, were there any questions that weren't answered?
I am. I'm waiting. I guess that means if they don't have any questions, either
That's
they're
good.
thinking about one or we covered everything. So I'm gonna say that we covered a lot.
Oh, and they can join me on Facebook tomorrow at 12. Geoffrey Mount Varner. I'm expecting a lot of people because I took off today, but they can join me tomorrow, and I believe that I will be doing it again on Friday as well.
I got to say one more
on
thing.
Saturday. Go
ahead. As I get, let me get untangled here. And this is important because what you do in terms of sharing this information, like I do, we're separated, a lot of times from our families because we are trying to help others, and there may be somebody else that feel that way. How do you deal with? And I want to help somebody here, helping you on the family to understand what you do, is vital, and without that person that's giving of themselves. Keep them from feeling guilty, because I know a lot of people say, man, I spend so much time for my family, but I'm trying to do something that's helping others. Doc, put that into perspectives to encourage those to have that balance.
I mean, it is difficult for everybody. Even while you were talking, we were supposed to watch a movie as a family at 9, and they just sent me a text saying, hey, Dad, or my wife just said, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. We will watch it tomorrow. So you kind of feel bad now. My son, that's the other piece of advice. People, be careful letting your kids watch the TV. Why? Their prefrontal cortex is not developed. They don't have the same coping skills. So I've limited letting my son watch it because I got out of the shower the other day and he just came and laid on me. And he's a 13-year-old boy. He's a real dude. He's like his daddy. So he doesn't usually lay on me. And so I was wondering why he was laying on me. And then finally he said to me, he goes, Daddy, is COVID going to hurt you? I said, huh? He said, well, I heard about people in the ER dying. Why do you have to go to work, Daddy? And so I tried to make a joke of it. Say, hey, Daddy's going to be fine. I said, but Daddy's got to go to work. I said, you like those Xbox games, right? He goes, yeah. I said, if Daddy doesn't go to work, you don't know how to get those Xbox games. That little joker said, you'll be fine, Daddy.
so it resonated real quick with it, right?
Yeah, but back to it. It's difficult with that balanced life, and sometimes you mentioned I went to every other day. It was part of it was because it was just taking me away from my family. Right. And so every other day works better, and like we will see where that takes us.
Hey man, you want to give a shout out to your Alpha brothers, especially that one up in DC by the name of Roland Martin.
Roland Martin, hey Roland, I've been trying to get on your show. In fact, I was scheduled to be on your show about my book Home Alive: 11 Month Steps for Surviving Encounters with the Police, but things kept happening. You kept scheduling, and I gotta admit, bigger issues kept happening. But brother, I am right here, Gamma I, Hampton University, spring '87.
Look at all right there. For all you Alpha brothers out there, y'all black and gold brothers, you got a dynamic brother here, and we want to continue to support him. And again, please follow him on Facebook. Give everybody your sites, and we're gonna let you go before 9 o'clock, man, because we don't want no problem. We want to let you have your wife to let you come back again.
All right. Yeah, you can go splitseconddecisions.com again, splitseconddecisions.com to connect with me. To follow me on Facebook, you can go to Geoffrey Mount Varner. Again, Geoffrey Mount Varner. And on Instagram, it's at Dr. Saving Lives. Again, Dr. Saving Lives. And LinkedIn. And by the way, there's a great article on LinkedIn that actually goes through everything that I just talked about. It's Geoffrey Mount Varner on LinkedIn.
I certainly appreciate again you coming back to be with us, and we're looking forward to having you back again with new updates because we're learning each and every day. Something new is evolving, and we want to keep our community updated. And as I want to tell you, everybody, I'm not doing this for fame or fortune. I'm not getting any money for this. What I'm trying to do is live the life of what Tom Joyner say is one to leave a legacy for my kids, my family, and I want to super serve my community. So if you all are tired of seeing me, you're tired of seeing my posts, know that I'm coming from a good place, a good
You are.
space in my heart that I want to make sure that if we're all going to make it through, I want to see you on the other side with
My
me.
man. Yes.
So take us out of here, Dr. Vernon.
Hey, I thank you for all that like you do, and everybody. In the end, this is going to be okay. And whatever you do, look out for like each other. Oh, and by the way, if you all could just do me just one favor, write someone a thank you letter. Write someone a thank you letter. It's only two rules. It can't be a family member, and not over 5 sentences. And I promise you that you're going to make somebody's day. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Salute to you. Thank you so much, and have a blessed night.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right, everybody. Again, thank you for tuning in to Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 streaming live. As I indicated earlier, you can go to our new YouTube on YouTube channel. It's out there. You'll be able to see this information, and you'll be able to share it with others from our YouTube channel. That's Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 TV channel. We certainly appreciate your support. We ask you to subscribe, and we ask you also to please and listen to our station, which is on 24/7. You can go, as you see at the bottom there, to cruisingradio.com. We got some great music coming up for you. We got at 10 o'clock this evening, smooth jazz with Tina E out of Texas. If you really want to relax, you really want to kind of get away from all the COVID, and you want to listen to some great music, listen at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to cruisingradio.com. Thank you, guys. Please let us know how we're doing. Let me know. Send me an inbox, a message, or whatever, because we really want to make sure that we're providing you with quality programming, quality information, and that we're keeping you informed. You all have a great night. This is your boy Cruz, the Beast from the East, and I'm out of here. Peace.